Thank you for joining us here at One Kingdom Worldwide as we share the greatest love story ever told in support of the God led life. Welcome to Section 1 Essential Scriptural Context that has been lost down through the ages. Matthew 15, Mark 7, Isaiah 29. They worship me in vain. They teach as doctrine the precepts of men. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In the last episode, we were talking about being careful with our affiliations. In these scriptures, Jesus was talking about the Pharisees who concocted requirements for the Jews to follow. These came from them, not God, and were control strategies used to get their way with the people. Have you ever been told a lie that you didn't realize was a lie until much later, and only after it had done its damage? Well, I've found that sometimes the liar does not even know that it's a lie that they are passing along. Sometimes they're honestly just repeating a lie that they have been told and believed. What if that lie has been passed down over hundreds of years? How will you find out? Often we find out because someone goes back and does a whole lot of work to find the truth, and then they share it. I have been blessed many, many times by this kind of people, and therefore have a responsibility to pass the truth along to others too. In Colossians 2, we are told, see to it that no one takes you captive according to human tradition. For generations and generations, pastors have been taught and told to teach the Old Testament law of giving a 10% tithe. That is to say, the giving of a tenth of your income each week to the church. But that law was just training wheels on the bicycle to begin to grow our generosity. When we put it all in context as Talmudim, what we see first is that we only say and do what the Father gives us to say and do. Next, the New Testament identifies that everything we have is His, given to us on loan until the end of our days. Since as a Talmud, I want His will to be done, not mine, all that I have is really only mine to use in support of His will for me. Therefore, I will be generous with His resources to whomever He tells me to be generous, and in whatever amounts He tells me to be generous with. God has not specified that 10% is to go to the church each week. That is a half-told truth passed down to the third and fourth generation over generations of generations for the funding of church ministry. It is a church tradition. It is not from God. So keep it all in context. Take off the training wheels and give as little or as much to whomever God leads you, wherever that may be. And if that is not to a church, be confident that churches will receive from God according to His will and their need, as long as they are living lives pleasing to Him. You need not feel guilty as long as you are giving as He leads you. Continuing on with more of what Jesus had to say about the problem of traditions passing down the ways of men, not of God. Do you remember from the previous episodes that the Pharisees and Sadducees were trying to use their influence to control the people? Well, they had many followers, had maneuvered to claim authority over them, and so were at risk of losing influence as Jesus spoke openly to expose their selfish motives. One day his followers asked him why it was that he spoke to those guys in parables. And he said in Matthew 13, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. Indeed, in their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled that says, "You will indeed hear, but never understand, and you will indeed see, but never perceive. For this people's heart is grown dull, and with their ears they can barely hear, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn, and I would heal them." Have you ever been like this? I know I have. In foolishness, I blocked out the truth because it would have caused me to change my ways, my selfish ways, ways that I did not want to change. It was total foolishness. Restating, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and turn, and I would heal them. Are you ready to let Him improve your life? Are you ready to be blessed? Here is more of what He said to them that day. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. To you it has been given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to the one who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Paraphrasing. More and more mysteries that bless are yours to know if you care. But if you really don't care much for God's ways, what little you do understand will just dribble away. The people hearing the parable simply didn't care about the things of God. They were selfishly running their own lives their own way. He wanted them to be discussing the things of God. So he spoke to them in parables. You see, parables are like riddles. And Jesus knew that in curiosity, they would talk about the riddle after they left. "Hey, Charlie, what do you think he was talking about with that?" And just like that, they would find themselves conversationally considering the things of God. The Gospels indicate that some of these came back, curious to know more. Riddles can be very effective. You may also remember that all of the 250 denominational divisions of Christian religion claim that what they are doing is godly and that they believe that it is what God expects of all of us. But they can't all be right when they disagree with each other. If you look around, you'll see that there are pastors on all sides emphasizing different things. How can you tell the difference between the various denominational positions being emphasized? How can you tell who is right? As you remember from the previous episodes, it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about becoming more and more like your Rabbi, Jesus. So start by comparing them with Jesus. They will not be perfect like Jesus, but are they growing in his attitudes? Do they speak in gentleness and humility as peacemakers? Are their results producing fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, perseverance, and self-control. Like Jesus, are they conversationally facilitating your ability to hear God's voice and be led by God? Or are they using manipulate to control strategies like judgment, condemnation, slander, and shaming to press you for what they think you should do? Spend more time with the one, and please avoid the other. See you next time.